Hello, listeners. How are you, wherever you are? God bless you. You're welcome to our live today. I welcome you to our live today. Um, like the video, please share and like the video and help us to spread the word of God. Help us to preach Jesus to every corner of the nations, to every corners of the world. Let's preach Jesus. So let's proceed and read from Matthew. We'll start from the book of Matthew, chapter number 24. Let us start. Jesus, I hope I'm audible enough for everybody. So you're welcome. Let us proceed. Matthew chapter 24. Jesus left and was going away from the temple when his disciples came to him to call his attention to its buildings. Yes, he said. You may well look at all this. I tell you this, not a single stone here will be left in its place. Every one of them will be thrown down. As Jesus sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him in private. Tell us when all this will be, they asked, and what will happen to show that it is the time for your coming and the end of the age. Jesus answered, Be on your guard and do not let anyone deceive you. Many men claiming to speak for me will come and say, I am the Messiah, and they will deceive many people. You are going to hear the noise of battles close by and the news of battles far away. But do not be troubled. Such things must happen, but they do not mean that the end has come. Countries will fight each other. Kingdoms will attack one another. There will be famines and earthquakes everywhere. All these things are like the first pains of childbirth. Then you will be arrested and handed over to be punished and be put to death. All nations will hate you because of me. Many will give up their faith at that time. They will betray one another and hate one another. Then many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Such will be the spread of evil that many people's love will grow cold. But whoever holds out to the end will be saved. And this good news about the kingdom will be preached through all the world for a witness to all nations. And then the end will come. You will see the awful horror of which the prophet Daniel spoke. It will be standing in the holy place. Note to the reader, be sure to understand what this means. Then those who are in Judea must run away to the hills. Someone who is on the roof of his house must not take the time to go down and get his belongings from the house. Someone who is in the field must not go back to get his cloak. How terrible it will be in those days for women who are pregnant and for mothers with little babies. Pray to God that you will not have to run away during the winter or on a Sabbath. For the trouble at that time will be far more terrible than any there has ever been, from the beginning of the world to this very day, nor will there ever be anything like it again. But God has already reduced the number of days. Had He not done so, nobody would survive. For the sake of His chosen people, however, God will reduce the days. Then, if anyone says to you, Look, here is a Messiah, or there he is, do not believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear. They will perform great miracles and wonders in order to deceive even God's chosen people, if possible. Listen, I have told you this before the time comes. Or if people should tell you, Look, he is out in the desert, don't go there. Or if they say, Look, he is hiding here, don't believe it. For the Son of Man will come like the lightning which flashes across the whole sky from the east to the west. Wherever there is a dead body, the vultures will gather. Soon after the trouble of those days, the sun will grow dark, the moon will no longer shine, the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers in space will be driven from their courses. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and all the peoples of earth will weep as they see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. The great trumpet will sound, and he will send out his angels to the four corners of the earth, and they will gather his chosen people from one end of the world to the other. Let the fig tree teach you a lesson. When its branches become green and tender and it starts putting out leaves, you know that summer is near. In the same way, when you see all these things, you will know that the time is near, ready to begin. Remember that all these things will happen before the people now living have all died. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. No one knows, however, when that day and hour will come. Neither the angels in heaven nor the Son. The Father alone knows. The coming of the Son of Man will be like what happened in the time of Noah. In the days before the flood, people ate and drank, men and women married, up to the very day Noah went into the boat. Yet they did not realize what was happening until the flood came and swept them all away. That is how it will be when the Son of Man comes. At that time, two men will be working in a field, one will be taken away, the other will be left behind. Two women will be at a mill grinding meal, one will be taken away, the other will be left behind. Be on your guard then, because you do not know what day your Lord will come. If the owner of a house knew the time when the thief would come, you can be sure that he would stay away and not let the thief break into his house. So then, you also must always be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you are not expecting him. Who then is a faithful and wise servant? It is the one that his master has placed in charge of the other servants to give them their food at the proper time. How happy that servant is if his master finds him doing this when he comes home. Indeed, I tell you, the master will put that servant in charge of all his property. But if he is a bad servant, he will tell himself that his master will not come back for a long time, and he will begin to beat his fellow servants and to eat and drink with drunkards. Then that servant's master will come back one day when the servant does not expect him, and at a time he does not know. The master will cut him in pieces and make him share the fate of the hypocrites. There he will cry and grind his teeth. Thank you for joining in. We are reading from the book of Matthew. Now we move on to Matthew chapter number 25. Let's move on. At that time, the kingdom of heaven will be like this. Once there were 10 young women who took their oil lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and the other 5 were wise. The foolish ones took their lamps but did not take any extra oil with them, while the wise ones took containers full of oil for their lamps. The bridegroom was late in coming, so the women began to nod and fall asleep. It was already midnight when the cry rang out, "Here is a bridegroom, come and meet him." The 10 women woke up and trimmed their lamps. Then the foolish ones said to the wise ones, "Let us have some of your oil, because our lamps are going out." "No, indeed," the wise ones answered. "There is not enough for you and for us. Go to the shop and buy some for yourselves." So the foolish women went off to buy some oil. And while they were gone, the bridegroom arrived. The five who were ready went the five who were ready went in with him to the wedding feast, and the door was closed. Later, the women arrived. "Sir, sir, let us in," they cried out. "Certainly not. I don't know you," the bridegroom answered. And Jesus concluded, "Be on your guard then, because you do not know the day or the hour." At that time, the kingdom of heaven will be like this. Once there was a man who was about to go on a journey. He called his servants and put them in charge of his property. He gave to each one according to his ability. To one he gave 5,000 gold coins, to another he gave 2,000, and to another he gave 1,000. Then he left on his journey. The servant who had received 5,000 coins went at once and invested his money and earned another 5,000. In the same way, the servant who had received 2,000 coins earned another 2,000. But the servant who had received 1,000 coins went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants came back and settled accounts with them. The servant who had received 5,000 coins came in and handed over the other 5,000. "You gave me 5,000 coins, sir," he said. "Look, here are another 5,000 that I have earned." "Well done, you good and faithful servant," said his master. "You have been faithful in managing small amounts, so I will put you in charge of large amounts. Come on in and share my happiness." Then the servant who had been given 2,000 coins came in and said, "You give me 2,000 coins, sir? Look, here are another 2,000 that I have earned." "Well done, you good and faithful servant," said his master. "You have been faithful in managing small amounts, so I will put you in charge of large amounts. Come on in and share my happiness." Then the servant who had received 1,000 coins came in and said, "Sir, I know you are a hard man. You reap harvests where you did not sow, and you gather crops where you did not scatter seed. I was afraid, so I went off and hid your money in the ground. Look, here is what belongs to you." "You bad and lazy servant," his master said. Did you, that I reap harvests where I did not sow and gather crops where I did not scatter seeds? Well then, you should have deposited my money in the bank, and I would have received it all back with interest when I returned. Now take the money away from him and give it to the one who has 10,000 coins. For to every person who has something, even more will be given, and he will have more than enough. But the person who has nothing, even the little that he has, will be taken away from him. As for this useless servant, throw him outside in the darkness. There he will cry and grind his teeth. When the Son of Man comes as King, and all the angels with him, he will sit on his royal throne, and the people of all the nations will be gathered before him. Then he will divide them into two groups just as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the righteous people on his right and the others on his left. Then the king will say to the people on his right, "Come, you that are blessed by my Father, come and possess the kingdom which has been prepared for you ever since the creation of the world. I was hungry, and you fed me, thirsty, and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger, and you received me in your homes, naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you took care of me, in prison, and you visited me." The righteous will then answer him, "When, Lord, did we ever see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you a drink? When did we ever see you a stranger and welcome you in our homes, or naked and clothe you? When did we ever see you sick or in prison and visit you?" The king will reply, "I tell you, whenever you did this for one of the least important of these members of my family, you did it for me." Then he will say to those on his left, "Away from me, you that are under God's curse, away to the eternal fire, which has been prepared for the devil and his angels. I was hungry, but you would not feed me, thirsty, but you would not give me a drink. I was a stranger, but you would not welcome me in your homes, naked, but you would not clothe me. I was sick and in prison, but you would not take care of me." Then they will answer him, "When, Lord, did we ever see you hungry, or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and would not help you?" The king will reply, "I tell you, whenever you refused to help one of these least important ones, you refused to help me." These then will be sent off to eternal punishment, but the righteous will go to eternal life. Let's move on to Matthew chapter number 26. Please give me a minute. Hello, sorry, I had to go for a minute or two, but I am back now. Let us continue from Matthew chapter number 26. It's about the plot against Jesus. When Jesus had finished teaching all these things, he said to his disciples, "In 2 days, as you know, it will be the Passover festival, and the Son of Man will be handed over to be crucified." Then the chief priests and the elders met together in the palace of Caiaphas, the high priest, and made plans to arrest Jesus secretly and put him to death. We must We must not do it during the festival, they said, or the people will riot. Jesus was in Bethany at the house of Simon, a man who had suffered from a dreaded skin disease. While Jesus was eating, a woman came to him with an alabaster jar filled with an expensive perfume, which she poured on his head. The disciples saw this and became angry. Why waste all this? Why all this waste? They asked. This perfume could have been sold for a large amount and the money given to the poor. Jesus knew what they were saying, so he said to them, "Why are you bothering this woman? It is a fine and beautiful thing that she has done for me. You will always have poor people with you, but you will not always have me. What she did was to pour this perfume on my body to get me ready for burial. Now, I assure you that wherever this gospel is preached, all over the world, what she has done will be told in memory of her." Then one of the 12 disciples, the one named Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked, "What will you give me if I betray Jesus to you?" They counted out 30 silver coins and gave them to him. From then on, Judas was looking for a good chance to hand Jesus over to them. On the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked him, "Where do you want us to get the Passover meal ready for you?" "Go to a certain man in the city," he said to them, "and tell him, 'The teacher says, my hour has come. My disciples and I will celebrate the Passover at your house.'" The disciples did as Jesus had told them and prepared the Passover meal. When it was evening, Jesus and the 12 disciples sat down to eat. During the meal, Jesus said, "I tell you, one of you will betray me." The disciples were very upset and began to ask him one after the other, "Surely, Lord, you don't mean me?" Jesus answered, "One who dips his bread in the dish with me will betray me. The Son of Man will die, as the scriptures say he will. But how terrible for that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would have been better for that man if he had never been born." Judas the traitor spoke up. "Surely, teacher, you don't mean me?" he asked. Jesus answered, "So you say." While they were eating, Jesus took a piece of bread, gave a prayer of thanks, broke it, and gave it to his disciples. Take and eat it," he said. "This is my body." Then he took a cup, gave thanks to God, and gave it to them. "Drink it, all of you," he said. "This is my blood, which seals God's covenant. My blood poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will never again drink this wine until the day I drink the new wine with you in my Father's kingdom." Then they sang a hymn and went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said to them, "This very night all of you will run away and leave me. For the scripture says, 'God will kill the shepherd and the sheep of the flock will be scattered.' But after I am raised to life, I will go to Galilee ahead of you." Peter spoke up and said to Jesus, "I will never leave you, even though all the rest do." Jesus said to Peter, "I tell you that before the cock crows tonight, you will say 3 times that you do not know me." Peter answered, "I will never say that, even if I have to die with you." And all the other disciples said the same thing. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee. Grief and anguish came over him, and he said to them, "The sorrow in my heart is so great that it almost crushes me. Stay here and keep watch with me." He went a little farther on, threw himself face downwards on the ground, and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, take this cup of suffering from me. Yet not what I want, but what you want. Then he returned to the 3 disciples and found them asleep. And he said to Peter, how is it that you three were not able to keep watch while how is it that you three were not able to keep watch with me even for 1 hour? Keep watch and pray that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Once more, Jesus went away and prayed, my Father, if this cup of suffering cannot be taken away unless I drink it, your will be done. He returned once more and found the disciples asleep. They could not keep their eyes open. Again, Jesus left them, went away, and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then he returned to the disciples and said, are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come for the Son of Man to be handed over to the power of sinners. Get up, let us go. Look, here is the man who is betraying me. Jesus was still speaking when Judas, one of the 12 disciples, arrived. With him was a large crowd armed with swords and clubs and sent by the chief priests and the elders. The traitor had given the crowd a signal. The man I kiss is the one you want. Arrest him. Judas went straight to Jesus and said, peace be with you, teacher, and kissed him. Jesus answered, be quick about it, friend. Then they came up, arrested Jesus, and held him tight. One of those who were with Jesus drew his sword and struck at the high priest's slave, cutting off his ear. Put your sword back in its place, Jesus said to him. All who take the sword will die by the sword. Don't you know that I could call on my Father for help, and at once he would send me more than 12 armies of angels? But in that case, how could the scriptures come true which say that this is what must happen? Then Jesus spoke to the crowd. Did you have to come with swords and clubs to capture me, as though I were an outlaw? Every day I sat down and taught in the temple, and you did not arrest me. But all this has happened in order to make what the prophets wrote in the scriptures come true. Then all the disciples left him and ran away. Those who had arrested Jesus took him to the house of Caiaphas, the high priest, where the teachers of the law and the elders had gathered together. Peter followed from a distance. As far as the courtyard of the high priest's house, he went into the courtyard and sat down with the guards to see how it would all come out. The chief priests and the whole council tried to find some false evidence against Jesus to put him to death, but they could not find any, even though many people came forward and told lies about him. Finally, 2 men stepped up and said, this man said, I am able to tear down God's temple and 3 days later build it up again. The high priest stood up and said to Jesus, have you no answer to give to this accusation against you? But Jesus kept quiet. Again, the high priest spoke to him, in the name of the living God, I now put you on oath. Tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God. Jesus answered him, so you say, but I tell all of you, from this time on, you will see the Son of Man sitting on the right of the Almighty and coming on the clouds of heaven. At this, the high priest tore his clothes and said, blasphemy! We don't need any more witnesses. You have just heard his blasphemy. What do you think? They answered, he is guilty and must die. Then they spat in his face and beat him, and those who slapped him said, "Prophesy for us, Messiah. Guess who hit you?" Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard when one of the high priest's servant women came to him and said, "You too were with Jesus of Galilee." But he denied it in front of them all. "I don't know what you are talking about," he answered, and went on out to the entrance of the courtyard. Another servant woman saw him and said to the men there, "He was with Jesus of Nazareth." Again, Peter denied it and answered, "I swear that I don't know that man." After a little while, the men standing there came to Peter. "Of course, you are one of them," they said. "After all, the way you speak gives you away." Then Peter said, "I swear that I am telling the truth. May God punish me if I am not. I do not know that man." Just then a cock crowed, and Peter remembered what Jesus had told him. Just then a cock crowed, and Peter remembered what Jesus had told him. "Before the cock crows, you will say 3 times that you do not know me." He went out and wept bitterly. Thank you for joining in. Let's meet after 30 minutes. We proceed and continue from Matthew chapter number 27. Thank you. So let us meet after 30 minutes. We proceed from Matthew number 27. Thank you once again. And God bless you. God bless you. You can comment, tell us where you're watching us from, and we will appreciate to know where you're watching us from. Thank you.